During my first live stream, I accidentally showed the bed sheets behind me. The internet immediately lost it, because they were identical to Anna's custom-made sheets. Soon, everyone online was digging into my real identity. We first met at a jade auction. Anna, the untouchable heiress of Beijing's elite circle, and I wanted the same piece of jade. No one dared bid against Anna, so when I raised my paddle to 5 million, the whole room erupted in whispers and shocked gasps. Who was this guy? And how was he bold enough to challenge Anna? When Lucy heard me bid, she turned to me and asked nervously, "Jack, what are you doing? Put the paddle down now." I gave my sister a confused look and said, "I came here for this jade. Of course I'm bidding on it." Anna hadn't expected anyone else to bid, but after a brief pause, she raised her paddle again without hesitation. 10 million yuan. I frowned and raised the bid again. 15 million. 1. Lucy couldn't stop me in time. When I raised my paddle again, she quickly snatched it from my hand. "Jack, stop bidding. Can't you see Anna's getting upset?" "Lucy, give it back." I ignored her and kept reaching for it. "I came here for that jade. I have to get it." Lucy refused. "You can't bid on this one. Pick anything else you want and I'll buy it for you." I'd lived overseas and had only recently returned, so I didn't know much about Anna. Confused, I asked, "Who is she? Why can't I bid against her?" "That's Anna sitting next to us, one of Beijing's most powerful heiresses. No one takes what she wants," Lucy quietly explained. "And she has a temper. Didn't you notice how everyone backed off the second she bid? The jade isn't the real issue. They're scared of crossing her. Both families belong to Beijing's elite. But Anna's family is far more powerful than ours. Her family is dangerous, and Anna is even worse. Everyone praised her, even 6 years ago. Now that she's back, she's only more formidable." Last call. 20 million yuan. Sold. Anna won the jade for 20 million yuan. With nothing else I wanted, I lost interest and got up to leave, seeing that Lucy followed me. Out in the hallway, I ran into Anna and Emma carrying the auction item from the other side. Anna and I briefly locked eyes. Normally, if I met a woman that beautiful, I'd gladly introduce myself, but today, she had taken the jade I'd been obsessed with for so long. Just like that. I don't care how pretty she is. I still don't like her. As Anna passed me, she sensed my unfriendly stare and glanced my way. Then Emma spotted my sister and waved with a smile. "Lucy, you have to come to the welcome dinner tonight." How did my sister know Emma? And how were they so close? I knew Emma because my best friend, Tom, once liked her and asked me to set them up. But Anna? I'd only heard of her. Today was our first meeting. Whatever. I'll just see how things play out. At 7 that night, the largest private room at Lantings was already packed with rich heirs and heiresses. Most had an agenda. Some wanted Anna's attention, while others hoped to secure a business deal. Emma greeted everyone. Anna arranged tonight's dinner. So eat, drink, and have a good time. The room was full of laughter until the door suddenly opened. Everyone went silent and turned toward it. When they saw Anna, they all stood to greet her. Anna ignored their flattering looks and took the seat of honor. Emma sat beside her and said cheerfully, "Anna, you're finally here. Why are you so late? You owe us 3 drinks." Emma was in high spirits. Before Anna could respond, she grabbed the bottle and poured her a drink. Anna took the glass and downed 3 drinks without hesitation. Yeah, but deep down, everyone envied Emma. They're really close. Only Emma can treat Anna like that. If anyone else tried it, Anna would have been furious. Anna smiled at Emma and thought, "This girl insisted on throwing me a welcome dinner. Emma is my only real friend, so who else would even come? These people must be her usual crowd. Emma always has some scheme, and now she's using one on me. Still, she's worked hard these past few years and handled a lot for me. I can at least show up for her." Once Anna arrived, everyone in the room became noticeably more reserved. After the food arrived, Anna sat for a while, grew bored, and decided to leave. When Emma saw her getting up, she asked, "Leaving already? You can't stay a little longer?" Anna waved her off and left the room. Once she was gone, the atmosphere immediately relaxed. Everyone knew the score. If they couldn't get close to Anna, getting close to Emma was still worthwhile. Emma's family was powerful, too, so either connection would be valuable. Meanwhile, a sports car pulled into Junjin Court. Security spotted the flashy car from a distance and quickly opened the gate. Once inside, Anna slowed down. Someone suddenly blocked her path. She stopped and waited for him to move, but as she watched, he started to look familiar. Then she remembered. No wonder he looks familiar. It's Jack, the heir who just returned from overseas. What's he doing here? I tugged on the leash around Sprite's neck. Sprite, come on, be good. We've been out forever. It's time to go home. Anna frowned when I didn't move, then got out to take a look. An Alaskan Malamute was lying on the path beside the flower bed. Sprite, I'm getting mad. What's gotten into you today? You're not listening at all, I muttered under my breath, while Anna stood behind me watching the standoff between man and dog. Is that your dog? He's adorable. I was tugging his ear, ready to give him some tough love, when a voice behind me made me jump. I turned around. Anna, what's she doing here? While I was wondering, she said, get your dog in the car. I'll drive you both home. I gave her a puzzled look. No need. I'll call my sister and have her come get us. Are you sure? She's probably still at the welcome dinner, stuck chatting with Emma. I doubt she can come. I refused to believe it and quickly called my sister. She didn't have to offer me a ride, but she did, and I didn't know what to do with that. Sprite had finally given up his protest and was sitting in Anna's backseat like he owned it, tongue out, completely unbothered. Traitor. I sat in the passenger seat, arms crossed, trying to figure out what game this woman was playing. You didn't have to do this, I said. I know, she replied, eyes on the road. Your dog was blocking my car. It was either this or run him over. He's 80 kilograms. You wouldn't have gotten far. The corner of her mouth moved. Not quite a smile. Closed though. Which building? She asked. Tower 3. She didn't say anything else. Neither did I. But Sprite put his giant head on the center console between us, and Anna, without looking, reached over and scratched behind his ear. He made a sound like a small earthquake. I stared at her. She kept her eyes forward. Don't, I said. You'll spoil him. He's already spoiled. That took about 4 seconds to figure out. I had no good response to that, so I looked out the window instead, and pretended I wasn't almost smiling. She dropped us at Tower 3 and drove off without a word. No goodbye. No see you around. Just taillights disappearing around the corner. Sprite watched the car go like she'd personally abandoned him. Don't start, I told him. He looked at me with the full weight of his disappointment. Upstairs, Lucy was already home, shoes off, looking like she'd barely survived the dinner. How'd you get back? She asked. Anna drove us. Lucy sat up so fast she knocked her tea off the table. Anna drove you? Anna Chen personally drove you home? And Sprite. Sprite was mostly the reason. Jack. She grabbed my arm. What did you say to her? Did you apologize for the auction? Why would I apologize? I bid on something. That's what auctions are for. Because no one bids against Anna. Apparently I do. Lucy made a noise somewhere between a groan and a prayer. I patted her shoulder and went to get water for Sprite. She seemed fine, I called from the kitchen. She scratched Sprite's ear. A long silence. Then Lucy said, very quietly, she doesn't touch people's dogs. I poured the water. Well, I said. She touched his. The next morning I went for a run. Junjin Court had a long loop around the inner garden, about 20 minutes at a good pace. I'd been doing it every day since I got back. Old habit. I was on my second lap when I nearly collided with someone coming around the corner. Anna. She was in running gear, earbuds in, completely in the zone. She pulled one earbud out and looked at me with the mild irritation of someone whose rhythm had been interrupted. You live here? I asked. Tower 1, she said. You. Tower 3. A pause. You run at 6 in the morning, she said. Not a question. You also run at 6 in the morning, I pointed out. She looked at me for a moment. Then she put her earbud back in, and kept running. I stood there for a second, then started running too, in the same direction. We ran the rest of the loop in silence. Not the uncomfortable kind. Just two people and their morning and the sound of their feet on the path. At the split where our towers diverged, she peeled off without a word. I watched her go. Then I ran my third lap, which I never do. I blamed the good weather. Tom called at noon. Tell me everything about Emma, he said, skipping hello entirely. Good morning to you too. Emma Jo, Lucy's friend. Anna Chen's only real friend. Details, Jack. I leaned back. You've been asking about her for 2 years. Because I never had an opening. Now Lucy's in the same circle. This is my chance. Tom, you're 31. Feelings don't expire. I laughed. Tom was the most capable person I knew in a boardroom and the most helpless person I knew the moment Emma Jo was within 100 meters. I met Anna yesterday, I said. Silence. Then carefully, Anna Chen. Is there another Anna? Jack. His voice dropped. Anna Chen is not someone you casually run into. What happened? She drove me and Sprite home. We ran this morning. Same compound. Another silence. Longer. You live in Junjin Court, Tom said slowly. Yes. Anna Chen lives in Junjin Court. Tower 1. Jack, do you understand what Junjin Court is? A housing complex. He made a sound like I'd personally offended him. Call me later, he said. I need to sit down. Lucy dragged me to a gallery opening on Thursday. You need to socialize, she said. You've been back 3 weeks and all you do is run and work and argue with Sprite. Sprite starts it. Jack. So I went. The gallery was in Shaoyang Fleek, white, full of people dressed to be noticed. I grabbed a glass of something sparkling and found a corner where I could observe without being observed. Old habit. I was halfway through an internal debate about a sculpture that looked like a collapsed shopping cart when someone stopped beside me. Anna. In something simple and dark, somehow more striking than anyone else in the room. She glanced at the sculpture. Then at me. You're staring at it like it owes you money, she said. I'm trying to decide if it's brilliant or a mistake. Why not both? I looked at her. The artist is making a point about consumer culture, she said. You can agree with the point and still think the execution is ugly. So it's both. Most things are. She moved on before I could respond. I looked back at the sculpture. Then I followed her. Not because I'd decided to. My feet just went. We ended up in front of a large ink painting near the back. No one else was over here. Everyone was clustering near the entrance pieces, the flashy ones. You always find the back corner, she said. You noticed. I notice things. So do I. I looked at the painting. Is that why you came over here? You saw me hiding. I wasn't following you. I didn't say you were. She was quiet for a second. I like this one, she said. A mountain range half dissolved in mist. The kind of thing that looked unfinished until you looked longer and realized the emptiness was the whole point. Me too, I said. Then we agree on something. Shocking. The corner of her mouth moved. That almost smile. I was starting to collect them. You're not what I expected, she said. What did you expect? Someone who'd apologize for the auction. I'm not sorry about the auction. I know. She looked at me. That's what I mean. We stood there a moment longer. Then Lucy appeared, spotted us, and froze like she'd walked into a live wire. Anna glanced at her. Your sister looks like she might faint. She won't, I said. Probably. Lucy did not faint, but she pulled me aside the second Anna stepped away. Why were you talking to Anna? She whispered. We were looking at a painting. Together. We were standing near each other. Paintings are public. Jack. She grabbed my sleeve. Everyone who gets close to Anna ends up either her closest ally or her biggest regret. There's no middle ground. Those are the only two options. With Anna. Yes. I pulled my sleeve back gently. Lucy. I had a conversation with someone at a gallery. I'm not applying for a position. She gave me the look she'd been perfecting since we were children, the one that said she knew something I didn't. Emma texted me, she said. Anna came to the back corner specifically. She never does that at openings. She stands near the door so she can leave quickly. I processed that. So. I said. So she came to where you were. I looked across the room. Anna was speaking to a gallery director, completely composed, like she owned the air around her. I said. Lucy watched my face. Don't, she said. Don't what? That look. I'm not doing a look. You're absolutely doing a look, Jack. Tom came to Beijing on Friday with 2 coffees and the energy of someone who had rehearsed his opening. I need you to introduce me to Emma, he said. Hello to you too. Jack, 2 years, do you know how long that is? I have a general understanding of time, yes. He sat on my couch and handed me a coffee. Sprite immediately climbed on him. Tom didn't flinch. How close are you to Anna? He asked. We've spoken 3 times. But she drove you home. The dog was blocking her car. Jack. Serious voice. Anna Chen doesn't do things she doesn't want to do. If she drove you home, she chose to. I drank my coffee. You've been researching her, I said. I've been researching Emma. Anna is just adjacent. Right. Don't give me that look. What look? The one where you think I'm wrong but won't argue about it. Sprite put his head on Tom's knee with the solemnity of a judge. Even the dog agrees with me, Tom said. The dog agrees with everyone who has food nearby. Do you have food nearby? No. Then he's agreeing with me on principle. Lucy arranged lunch. Saturday afternoon, private room near San Latun. Me, Lucy, Tom, Emma. and Anna, who Emma had apparently invited without telling anyone else. I found out when I walked in and she was already seated. Our eyes met across the table. You didn't know either, she said. Not a question, Emma, I confirmed. Anna looked at Emma with the patient expression of someone who'd been managed by the same person for years and had made peace with it. Emma beamed. It's just lunch. Tom had gone completely still beside me. I nudged him. You're staring, I said quietly. I'm looking with intention. That's just staring with extra steps. Emma glanced over. Their eyes met. She tilted her head. Tom stood up too fast and nearly knocked over a water glass. Hi, he said. Very smoothly. Hi, Emma said, smiling like she found the whole thing delightful. Anna leaned slightly toward me and said, quietly, does he always do that? Only around her. It's been 2 years. 2 years. He's thorough. Anna watched Tom attempt to regain his dignity. Thorough isn't the word I'd use, she said. What word would you use? She considered. Committed, she said. Against all available evidence. Lunch was, objectively, chaos. Tom kept accidentally being charming, which appeared to surprise him each time it worked. Lucy kept watching Anna and me with the alertness of someone defusing a device. Anna ate with the calm efficiency of someone who had decided to enjoy the food and observe the humans as entertainment. I sat between her and Lucy, front row seat to both. Your friend is funny, Anna said quietly, nodding toward Tom, who was explaining why Beijing traffic was philosophically different from Shanghai traffic. He's mostly serious. This is him nervous. Is he always nervous around Emma? He once rehearsed how to say her name so he wouldn't stumble over it. Anna paused mid-sip. He rehearsed how to say her name. For a week. She set her glass down. That's either deeply sad or deeply romantic. Tom would say romantic. What would you say? I thought about it. I'd say he's the most sincere person I know, which in this city is either an asset or a liability depending on who you're dealing with. She looked at me for a moment. Which is it with you? She asked. I met her eyes. Depends on who I'm dealing with, I said. After lunch, Emma pulled Anna toward a shop across the street. Tom watched them go like a sailor watching land disappear. She smiled at me, he said. She smiles at everyone, Tom. No, Lucy told me she has a public smile and a real smile. That was the real one. I looked at him. Lucy has been briefing you on Emma's smiles. She's been very helpful. Lucy appeared, caught Tom's expression, and sighed. You're hopeless, she told him. But she was smiling. Was it the real smile? Tom asked her. I'm not your analyst. Lucy. Yes, it was the real one. Don't make me regret telling you that. Tom straightened his jacket like he was accepting an award. I looked across the street. Anna and Emma were outside a shop window. Emma pointing at something. Anna shaking her head. Emma pointing again. Anna shaking her head, slower, with the energy of someone who knew they were going to lose. A minute later they came back. Emma carrying a small bag. Anna a slightly larger one. You bought something, I said. Anna looked at me. Emma was persuasive. Emma is always persuasive. I'm aware of that now, she said. Thank you for not warning me. The live stream was an accident. I want to be clear about that. I do regular check-ins with my overseas team, nothing public, just internal updates. But my streaming setup crossed to the wrong account link, and for 4 minutes I was broadcasting to 17,000 people instead of a private channel. I didn't know until Lucy burst into my home office holding her phone like evidence. Jack, look at this. I looked. Comments were already stacking, most of them about the background, specifically, the bed sheets. Anna had a set of custom-made sheets, a specific pattern commissioned from a small workshop in Suzhou. Her name had been attached to them in a lifestyle magazine. Mine were identical, because I'd ordered from the same workshop 3 years ago, before that article existed. The internet did not know this context. The internet saw man with Anna Chen's signature bedsheets, and the internet decided it knew exactly what that meant. Turn it off, I said. It's already off. But there are screenshots. I'll handle it. How? I looked at the comments. Some things could not be unseen. Carefully, I said. I texted Anna before she could see the thread from someone else. I had to get her number from Lucy, which cost me 10 minutes of explanation and one very meaningful look. The message I sent was simple: the sheets are a coincidence. Same Suzhou workshop, different year. I'd explain, but you'll want documentation. Can we talk? I watched the screen. 3 minutes passed. Then, how did you get this number? Lucy. She thought a preemptive explanation was better than silence. A pause. Then, she was right. Tomorrow, 7 a.m. The Garden Loop. You want to have this conversation while running? I sent back. I run anyway, she replied. You can keep up or explain in fragments. I put the phone down. Lucy was watching from the doorway. She agreed to talk, she asked. Tomorrow morning. Garden loop. She's going to make you run while you explain yourself. Apparently. Lucy thought about this. That's actually very Anna, she said. Is that good or bad? It means she's not angry. When Anna is angry, she goes completely silent. She paused. Running means she's curious. I looked at the message again. Curious. I'd take it. She made me show her the documentation while we ran. Not stopped and looked at it. She kept pace the entire time, read the order confirmation on my phone between strides, and handed it back without breaking rhythm. The workshop should have flagged the pattern overlap, she said. They had an NDA. That's not an excuse, it's a process failure. I know. I spoke to the owner. So did I. She glanced at me. He wouldn't give me your name. He honored the NDA. Until you just told me it was you. Fair point. We ran the corner and hit the long straight. The internet thinks we're together, she said. I know. Does that bother you? I thought about how to answer honestly without it becoming complicated. It's inaccurate, I said. She was quiet for a few steps. That's not the same as bothered. No, I agreed. It's not. More silence. Just feet on path. I'll have my team issue a statement, she said, clarifying the coincidence. You don't have to. I know, but I will. I watched her profile for a half-second longer than I should have, then matched her pace, and said nothing more. The statement went out. Most people moved on by afternoon, but not everyone. Tom called. There's a thread about you. Not about Anna, about you specifically. Someone recognized your voice from a conference call 2 years ago. They're saying you're not just Jack who returned from overseas. Tom. Yeah. Don't say it on the phone. A pause. That bad. It's not bad. It's just not time yet. Does Anna know? No. Lucy. Enough. Not everything. Jack. The boardroom voice. If this thread gains traction, it won't. Not yet. The account has no credibility. Yet is doing a lot of work in that sentence. Tom. I'm just saying, if you're getting close to Anna and before you deny it, yes, you are, she's going to find out eventually. Better it comes from you. I looked out the window at the garden below. I know, I said. Then why are you waiting? I didn't answer that. Because the truth was more complicated than timing. I'd come back to Beijing to be no one for a while, to see what the city looked like when it didn't know who I was. And then Anna had happened. And now I had no idea what I was doing. Sprite found her again before I did. Saturday morning, later than usual, I took him out and lost track of him for 45 seconds near the east flower beds. When I found him, he was sitting directly in front of Anna like she was a park bench he'd reserved. She was on a call, phone to her ear, free hand absently on the back of his neck. She saw me coming and held up one finger. Wait. I waited. She finished the call, looked at Sprite, then at me. He appeared, she said. He does that. He sat down like we had an appointment. Has he done this before? 3 times this week, she said. Did you not notice he was missing? I looked at Sprite. He had the expression of someone whose secret had just been exposed. You've been coming to find her, I told him. He sneezed. That's not a defense, I said. He said that to me about his name, Anna told Sprite. Word for word. Sprite looked between us with the deep satisfaction of someone who had engineered exactly this. I owe you an apology, I said to Anna. He's been bothering you. He hasn't, she said. Simply enough that I believed her. We both looked down at him. He's good company, she added. Quietly. I filed that away carefully. Emma called me out of nowhere on Wednesday. She had my number, apparently, because Lucy. I need a favor, she said. We've spoken once. I know. I need it anyway. There's a charity dinner Friday. Anna is being honored. She hates these things but has to go, and I usually sit with her. I have a conflict. I need someone who won't make the evening worse. You want me to babysit Anna at a charity dinner. I want you to be a pleasant human being near Anna at a charity dinner. There's a difference. I thought about it. She won't want that. I already asked her, Emma said. She said, and I'm quoting, fine. That's it? Just fine. From Anna, fine is practically enthusiastic. I looked at Sprite, who was watching me with the expression he used when he thought I was about to make a good decision. I'll need a table number, I said. Already sent it to Lucy. A pause. Oh, and Jack. Yes. Don't wear anything boring. Anna notices. She hung up before I could ask how she knew that. I suspected the answer was simply, Emma always knows. The dinner was at the Peninsula Grand Ballroom. Anna was already at the table when I arrived, speaking to a hotel executive with the polished patience of someone who had done this 1,000 times. She saw me arrive. The executive noticed her attention shift. Anna smoothly excused herself. Emma sent you, she said. She was very persuasive. She always is. She glanced at my jacket, said nothing, but I caught the flicker. Emma had been right. She noticed. How long do these usually run? I asked. 3 hours if the speeches are short. 4 if anyone decides to be memorable. Who decides? Usually whoever had the most wine before the podium. I sat down. She sat across from me. The table filled up. Business contacts, mostly. A government liaison. 2 CEOs I recognized but wasn't going to admit to. They angled toward Anna throughout the first course. She handled each with the efficiency of someone who had mentally allocated 30 seconds per conversation. You're very good at this, I said quietly, during a lull. Practice, she said. Does it get easier? She looked at me briefly. No, she said. You just get better at hiding that it doesn't. I looked at my plate. I understood that more than I let on. The government liaison, a man who tested everyone with increasingly specific policy questions, threw one at me halfway through the second course. I answered it without blinking. In detail. Correctly. The liaison blinked. Anna, across the table, went very still for just a moment. After dinner, when the speeches started, she leaned toward me. You know trade infrastructure policy, she said. I know a little about a lot of things. That wasn't a little. That was comprehensive working knowledge with current data points. It's a long flight from wherever you were. She studied me. I kept my eyes on the podium. She was reading the shape of something without all its pieces. And she was very good at it. One day, she said quietly, you're going to tell me the actual version. The actual version. Of who you are. Not the one you're currently presenting. I was quiet for a moment. Is there a difference? I asked. With most people? No. She picked up her water glass. With you? I think so. She looked at the podium again. I didn't say anything else, but something had tightened in my chest. She was going to keep looking. And part of me, the part one hadn't quite admitted to yet, didn't mind. She walked to the podium and said 11 sentences. Precise, warm, entirely without self-congratulation. She came back and set the award plaque face down next to her plate without looking at it. I watched her do that. You don't like receiving things, I said. She looked at me. Most awards, she said, are an invitation to perform gratitude publicly for something you did privately. I find that uncomfortable. I was going to say inefficient. Same thing, sometimes. She paused. Then, quietly, yes. Same thing. The speeches continued. The room was warm and full of the sound of important people enjoying the sound of their own importance. Somewhere between the fourth speaker and dessert, Anna turned the award plaque right side up. Just slightly. Almost like it hadn't happened. But I saw it. I said nothing. Some things deserve to be noticed without being remarked on. At the end of the evening, walking out, she said, thank you for coming. Emma would have found someone worse, I said. Probably. A pause. But she didn't. She looked at me briefly. So, thank you. She said it simply enough that there was nothing to do but receive it. Anytime, I said. And I meant it. Lucy called the next morning with the energy of someone awake since 5. People saw you and Anna at the dinner. There were 400 people at the dinner. I mean, people saw you two talking. Really talking. Someone posted about it. They used the word comfortable. We were sitting down. Jack, comfortable is a big word when it comes to Anna. She's famously not comfortable with people. I drank my coffee. Tom called me too, she continued. He thinks you should tell her. Tell her what? Who you actually are. The full version. A pause. The thread is still out there. If someone connects it to the sheet thing and then adds last night, it's not time yet. When is it time? I didn't answer. Because the truth was more complicated than timing. I'd come back to Beijing to be no one for a while. To see the city without my name as context. And then Anna had started looking at me like she was reading a sentence with words missing, and I kept wanting to hand her the rest of the page. But once I did, everything would recalibrate. The morning runs, the gallery, the quiet conversations in loud rooms, all of it would have to be renegotiated in light of who I actually was. I wasn't ready for that yet. I wasn't sure she would be either. Tom came over Saturday with takeout and an agenda. Here's what I know, he said, setting containers on the table. You like her. Tom. You woke up at 6 every day this week. I always wake up at 6. You texted me at 6:02 on Thursday about the weather in the inner garden. It was notable weather. Jack, you sent a weather report about a courtyard. Sprite was watching me from the rug with the same expression Tom had. You're both wrong, I told them. Neither looked convinced. She's figured out I'm more than I'm presenting, I said. At the dinner. She told me directly. She's going to keep looking. So tell her first. It's not that simple. Why not? I opened a container. Pushed it around without eating. Because right now the runs, the gallery, the dinners, it's happening without my name as a variable. She's responding to me, not to what I am. Tom was quiet. That's actually quite wise, he said. Thank you. It's also going to blow up in your face. I know. Soon. Probably. Sprite got up and walked to his bowl in the manner of someone who had heard enough. Anna invited me to a private sale. Monday morning run, at the Split, she slowed. There's a private sale next Friday. Antiques. Not public. There might be a jade piece, comparable provenance to the auction one. You're inviting me to a private sale. I'm mentioning it exists. Whether you come is your decision. How would I access a sale I'm not listed for? You'd be on the list. And then she turned and walked toward Tower 1 like she hadn't just said it. I stood at the Split. Then called Tom. She invited me to a private sale. Anna Chen invited you to a private sale. She said she was mentioning it exists. But she also said she'd put me on the list. A long pause. Jack. I know. Private sales are. I know what they are, Tom. She doesn't invite people to private sales. Emma's been twice in 10 years. I looked at Tower 1. Twice in 10 years, I repeated. Twice. 10 years. I started walking. I need a suit, I said. You have suits. A better one. A pause. Then, warmly, good man. The private sale was in a courtyard residence in Dongqing, Old Beijing, high walls, afternoon light through paper windows. About 30 people. Serious buyers. The kind of room where everyone knew what everything was worth and no one mentioned a number out loud until they had to. Anna arrived separately. She found me near a display case by the eastern wall. You came, she said. You put me on the list. I wasn't sure you'd come. I was curious about the piece. She looked at me sideways. Just the piece. I kept my expression level. It's a good piece. We moved through the room together in a way that felt natural. She knew everyone. She introduced me twice as Jack, friend of Lucy's, and moved on before anyone could ask follow-ups. The jade was in a back room. Small, dark, a single piece on red silk under a glass dome. I looked at it for a long time. Do you want it? She asked. Yes. Then bid. You're not going to outbid me this time. She looked at the piece. It's not the one I want. What is? I asked. She glanced at me. Just briefly. I'll know when I see it, she said. I got the jade. I didn't look triumphant. Didn't feel relieved. I just held the case for a moment and then had it wrapped and put it in my jacket pocket like it was something ordinary. Because to me it was specific, which is different from ordinary, but didn't need a performance. Anna watched me do that. You're not going to display it, she said. No. Then what? I thought about it. It was my grandmother's. Not this exact piece, she sold hers when the family needed money. But she always described it. The pattern. The weight. I touched the pocket. She's gone now. But this is close enough to what she described that I wanted to have it. Anna didn't say anything. That's why the auction piece mattered, I added. Not status. Not collection. Just a specific thing for a specific reason. The room hummed around us. That's different from why most people buy here, she said. I know. It's a good reason. She looked at me when she said it. And for a moment the courtyard and the buyers and the careful distances just fell away. Thank you, I said. For the list. The piece was right for you, she said. That was all. But it was true. On the way out, someone stopped her. A man in his 50s. Expensive suit. The kind of smile that didn't reach the eyes. I was a few steps ahead and turned back. Anna, he said. You've been avoiding me. Director Fong. Her voice went perfectly smooth. I've been busy. Too busy for old family connections. He glanced at me. Who's this? A friend, she said. A friend. He said it like the word meant something else. Anna, your father would want you to. My father manages his relationships and I manage mine. She smiled. Just barely. It was good to see you, Director Fong. She moved past him and I fell into step beside her without being asked. We got to the courtyard gate before she exhaled. You don't have to do that, she said. Do what? Walk beside me like a shield. I wasn't. She looked at me. You stepped back when he stopped us. I had. Without thinking. Force of habit, I said. What kind of habit requires reflexive positioning beside someone in a social situation? I looked at her. The overseas kind. She held my gaze for one long moment, and then she did something I hadn't seen before. She smiled. The real one. Brief and unguarded and entirely for me. I told Tom about the smile that evening. Not the full day. Just the smile. She smiled, I said. People smile, Jack. Not Anna. Lucy told you she has the real one and the public one. And this was real. Silence. Okay, Tom said slowly. I need you to understand something. In 2 years of Anna adjacent knowledge because of Emma, I have never heard of Anna giving the real smile at a private sale, after a confrontation with director Fong, while someone had just bought a sentimental jade piece with a dead grandmother backstory. I didn't tell her the grandmother part to be. I know. That's what makes it work. You told her because she asked. I sat on the couch. Sprite climbed up and settled against my leg. Tom. Yeah. I have to tell her soon. I know. Before someone else does. Also yes. How do I do that without it changing everything? A long pause. Honestly, I don't know. I've been trying to introduce myself correctly to Emma for 2 years. I'm not your best resource on this. I laughed despite myself. Sprite sighed against my leg. The thread resurfaced. I woke up Tuesday to 17 missed messages, 4 from Tom, and 1 from Lucy that just said, "Call me now." Someone had cross-referenced my Singapore holding company, the Beijing return timeline, and a photograph from a public conference 3 years ago, close enough to the truth that it was going to hold. Within 6 hours it would be on the business pages. I called Lucy first. She's going to see it, Lucy said. If she hasn't already. I know. Jack, you should have told her before. I know, Lucy. She's going to think it was strategy. That was the part that sat wrong in my chest. Because it wasn't. I hadn't been close to Anna as a strategy. I'd been close to Anna because she made 6 a.m. runs feel worthwhile and gallery back corners feel like somewhere to stay. But it was going to look like strategy. And with Anna, a woman who had built her world on reading the actual meaning underneath people's actions, looking like strategy was as good as being guilty of it. I put down the phone and went to find her before the news did. She was at the garden path before I got there. Waiting, not running, which told me she'd already seen it. She looked at me when I came around the corner. She didn't look away. You've seen it, I said. Yes. I was going to tell you. I know. Before this. I know that too. She looked at me steadily. I found the Singapore registration 2 weeks ago. I went still. You knew. I waited, she said. I wanted to see if you'd choose to tell me. A pause. And I said, you're here at 6:30 in the morning running ahead of a news cycle. A pause. That counts. I looked at her. I'm sorry, I said. Simply, I should have told you sooner. Yes, she said. You should have. We ran anyway. The whole loop in something that felt like a reset. At the split she stopped. Tell me now. The actual version. So we sat on the stone bench by the East Garden. 6:45 in the morning, dew still on everything. And I told her. I told her about the company. How it started a logistics idea at 24 with no backing and no name. A rented desk in Singapore. The years it took to become something real. I told her I came back to Beijing to set up the regional office, but also because Beijing was home and I wanted to see what the city looked like when it didn't know what I was. She listened without interrupting. When I finished she was quiet. Your grandmother, she said. She knew. She died before it became what it is. She knew I was building something. But not the scale. No. She looked at the garden. She would have liked knowing about the jade, she said. I looked at her. Of all the things she could have said, that was the one I hadn't expected. And somehow it was exactly the right one. Yeah, I said. She would have. We sat there a moment longer. The company, she said finally. Shen Pacific. Yes. It's larger than you presented. Yes. She nodded slowly. Not angry. Just recalibrating. Thank you for telling me, she said. And she meant it exactly as she said it. The business pages ran the story by noon. By afternoon, 3 contacts had reached out, people I'd been managing at arm's length who suddenly had renewed enthusiasm for a meeting. I didn't respond to those. Lucy called to check on me, then immediately pivoted to telling me Emma had called her about Tom, who had apparently had a real conversation with Emma, and what exactly had Tom said because Emma was acting different. He talked to her like she was a person, I said. Jack. I mean, he stopped performing and just talked. She probably wasn't expecting it. Emma always knows what she's expecting. The question is whether Tom knows that. Tell him. You tell him. He listens to you more than me. He definitely does not. Lucy. I have 17 pending messages and the business section is running a 3-year-old photo of me that is extremely unflattering. I need you to handle Tom. A pause. Fine, she said. But you owe me. I'll buy you something at the next auction. I don't want anything at the next auction. I want you to have one normal week. I'll work on it. That's not reassuring, Jack. I know. The following week, now that my name was out, Junjin Court was different. The security staff more deferential. People who'd looked through me before now looked at me. Anna seemed entirely unbothered. She'd lived her whole adult life being looked at. What changed was the ease between us. Knowing she knew. Knowing she'd waited and watched and decided not to use it, that shifted something. On the Thursday run she said, "Have dinner with me." Just like that. Flat. Matter of fact. A specific dinner. I asked. Friday. A place I like. Not an event, not an obligation. Just dinner. Just dinner, I repeated. Don't make it complicated. I'm not. You're doing the thing where you think before you say yes. I always think before I say yes. It's called decision making. It's called overthinking. The answer is yes or no. I looked at her. Yes, I said. She turned at the split toward Tower 1. 7 o'clock, she said over her shoulder. I'll send the address. I watched her go. Then I called Tom. She asked me to dinner. He made a sound I'd never heard from him before. Tom, are you okay? I'm fine. I'm proud of you. The restaurant was a private room on the 3rd floor of a building in Zicken that had no sign outside. The kind of place you had to know. Anna was already there, reading her phone, looking fully off like she'd left the public version of herself somewhere else. You're early, I said. I'm always early. You're exactly on time. Is that a criticism? It's information. I sat across from her. The room was small. 2 tables, only one in use. Soft light. Deliberately constructed quiet. No one knows you here. I asked. The owner does. No one else. She picked up the menu. The fish is exceptional. Don't order the beef, it's inconsistent. Have you been here many times? I come when I want to eat without being managed. Managed. Watched. Assessed. Evaluated for what the meal signals about my allegiances. She glanced up. It happens in most rooms I'm in. Not all. She looked at me. Fewer lately, she said. I opened the menu. I'll have the fish, I said. Good choice. I make good choices. Occasionally, she said. And then she smiled. The real one. I ordered the fish. Over the second course I told her things I hadn't said out loud in years. She'd asked about my grandmother, not the Jade story, the real stories, and I found myself talking. She was a teacher. Secondary school, history, 22 years in the same building. She knew every student by one specific detail. Not their grades or families. A detail. She said the detail was the person, I told Anna. Everything else was context. Anna was quiet. What was yours? She called me her early morning boy. I'd go to her apartment before school and she'd have breakfast ready. She was always up first. I paused. She said watching the city wake up was the best part of the day and she didn't want to sleep through it. Anna looked at me. She raised you, she said, in the ways that mattered. Your parents were busy. That's a generous word for it. She nodded slowly. I had the sense she understood exactly what I hadn't said. She sounds like someone who paid attention, Anna said. She was the best at it, I said. A beat. I'm starting to think that's not an accident, she said. What isn't? She looked at me. The things you notice, she said. Where you learned it. We stayed 3 hours. I didn't notice until I looked at my watch and it was past 10. We'd talked about nothing dramatic. The neighborhood she grew up in. A book I couldn't stop thinking about from the flight back. The way Beijing winters were different from everywhere else she'd ever been. At some point the owner had replaced our water with tea and the room had stayed ours. It's late, she said. It is. I don't usually stay this long anywhere. I know. She looked at me. You know a lot about my habits. Morning runs are informative. What else have you learned? You reorganize your pace when you're working through something. You slow down when you've decided something and speed up when you haven't. You always take the long way past the East Garden even when it adds 4 minutes. She was quiet. And, I said, you scratch Sprite's ear when you think no one is watching. A pause. I do not. Anna. Make a habit of. Anna. She stopped. He's a good dog, she said, with complete dignity. He's a great dog, I agreed. He also has excellent taste in people. She looked at me, and didn't argue with that. Outside the restaurant, she stopped walking. I have a question, she said. Okay. When you were just Jack who'd returned from overseas, what were you actually trying to figure out? I thought about it honestly. Whether Beijing still felt like somewhere I belonged, I said. I'd been away 9 years. I wanted to know if I'd fit. Without your name as context. Yes. Did you? Some places, I said. Some didn't fit right away. Some I'm still working out. She looked at me steadily. You could have told me any of that at the auction. You didn't ask at the auction. You outbid me. That was asking. I laughed. She looked almost startled, like my laughing had surprised her, which meant she was keeping track of it too. Good night, Jack, she said. Good night, Anna. She got into her car. I watched the taillights. Different from the first time. The first time I'd watched them disappear and felt like a door closing. This time they turned the corner and I just stood there in the warm night air, hands in my pockets, not wanting to move yet. Letting it be whatever it was. Which was, I was beginning to admit, something. I told Tom about Emma. Sat him down with coffee and said, Emma finds you difficult to dismiss. Those were her words, passed through Anna, passed to me. He stared at me. Emma said that. Anna told me. Emma told Anna. Emma told Anna she finds me difficult to dismiss. You talking to her like a person made an impression. She knew you were nervous and you did it anyway. He sat with that. What do I do with difficult to dismiss? He asked. You ask her to dinner. Just like that. Tom, you have spent 2 years rehearsing her name. You know everything about her except whether she'll say yes if you simply ask. He was quiet. What if she says no? Then she says no and you know. Right now you know nothing. Sprite wandered over and put his head in Tom's lap. Okay, Tom said. Very quietly. Okay. I asked. I'll ask her. He looked at the dog. Does Sprite have a view on venue? He likes outdoor seating. That's actually useful. Please don't take dating advice from my dog. He has an excellent record so far. I thought about it. Fair, I said. The second dinner happened without being called a dinner. Monday morning run, at the Split, she said. I'm testing a new chef this week. He needs an objective taster who isn't on my staff. That's a very indirect invitation. It's a practical requirement. And I qualify because. You ordered the fish the other night and didn't make a face when it was slightly undersalted. You have standards but you don't perform them. She looked at me. Wednesday, 7. Same place. My apartment. She said it and then ran toward Tower 1 like she hadn't just said it. I stood at the Split. Her apartment. I called Lucy. She invited me to her apartment for dinner. Lucy was silent so long I checked if the call had dropped. Lucy. I'm here. Jack. She doesn't cook for people. Emma has been there maybe 4 times in their entire friendship. She said she's testing a chef. She's inviting you to her apartment and giving herself an excuse not to say that's what she's doing, which is the most Anna thing. I brought tea. Aged pour from a shop in Zicken I'd passed on a run. She'd mentioned preferring strong tea in the evenings. She opened the door and looked at the box. I didn't ask for this, she said. No, how did you know I'd want it? You mentioned evenings. The shop in Zicken. Something moved across her face that she didn't quite finish. Come in, she said. The apartment was nothing like I'd expected and exactly like I should have. Clean lines. Not cold, books everywhere with broken spines, 2 very good paintings, a low shelf near the window with a single jade piece on it. Not from the private sale. Older. The chef was real. Professional, clearly aware this was an evaluation. Anna stood beside me looking at the menu cards. 4 courses, she said. Tell me honestly what you think. Can he hear criticism? I asked. Yes. Can you? She glanced at me. About food. About anything. A beat. I'm better at it than I used to be, she said. Fair enough, I said. She almost smiled. And we went in. I gave the chef honest feedback. Not cruel. Just accurate. The second course needed acid, the third was perfect, the fourth good but conventional for what it was attempting. The chef listened, nodded, took notes. Afterward, when he'd packed up and left, Anna made the pour. We sat at her kitchen table. The apartment quiet in the way of somewhere deliberately made so. You like it here, I said. It's mine. You picked everything. Everything. Including the jade on the shelf. She looked at it. My mother's. She gave it to me at 25 and said, this is the only thing I own that no one else wanted. Keep it for that reason. For being unwanted. For surviving intact because no one thought it was valuable enough to take. I looked at the piece. That's a very good reason to keep something, I said. Yes. We drank the tea in comfortable quiet. You're different here, I said. Different how? Settled. All the management you do in public, you don't need it here. She looked at me. No, she said. I don't. And I just nodded. Like that was exactly right. I stayed until 11. We finished the tea and she showed me the second painting leaning against her study wall, not displayed, and explained why she hadn't hung it. It's not ready to be permanent, she said. The painting or you? She looked at it. The relationship between me and the painting. I need more time with it first. I understood that more than I said. At the door she handed me back the tea box. Lighter, she'd used some. For the rest, she said, you'll use it better than I will. You already have the pour you prefer. Exactly. I took the box. Stood in the doorway. Anna. Yes. I'm glad you put me on the private sale list. She looked at me. I'm glad you came, she said. Simply enough that it landed without armor. I walked to the elevator. Downstairs I stood for a moment before heading out. I walked home through the courtyard. The garden quiet. The east beds, dark. I thought about paintings that weren't ready to be permanent. And about how that didn't mean they were going back. It just meant they needed time. I was good at time. 9 years of building had taught me that much. Director Feng's office called my team on Thursday. A formal meeting request. Worded to imply it wasn't a request. I told my assistant to decline with thanks. An hour later he called the main line directly. I took the call. Mr. Shin, Feng said. We haven't been properly introduced. We were briefly introduced at a private sale 2 weeks ago. A pause. Ah, you were with Anna. I was at the same event as Anna. Of course. Recalibrating. I've been meaning to discuss mutual interests. Your logistics network and our infrastructure projects have natural synergy. I appreciate the interest. We're not taking on new partnerships of that kind currently. Mr. Shen, I have a long relationship with the Chen family. I understand. It would be unfortunate if, Director Feng, I said, pleasantly, without heat. My answer is the same. I appreciate your time. I ended the call. Then I texted Anna. Feng called. Declined. Thought you should know. She replied in 4 minutes, thank you. Don't let him try a second time. I sent back, already handled. A pause. Then, good. One word. From Anna, that was a great deal. Tom and Emma went on their first date the same week. Tom texted me from the restaurant. She laughed at 2 things I said. Both intentional. Personal best. I sent back, try for 3 next time. His reply, already planning it. Lucy called that evening with the contained happiness of someone who'd been quietly rooting for this for months. Emma texted me, she said. She said Tom is steady. That's her word. Is that a compliment from Emma? High praise. She's been around flashy people her whole life. Steady means he's real. I thought about that. Jack, Lucy said. Yeah. Are you happy? I thought about the dinners. The runs. The apartment and the unhanging painting and the tea she'd used some of and sent the rest back with me. I thought about good morning texts about notable garden weather. I thought about the real smile. Yes, I said. Good. And the relief in her voice told me she'd been worrying about me longer than I'd known. You didn't have to worry, I told her. I'm your sister, she said. That's the whole job. I laughed. She laughed too. And for a moment Beijing was just a city where good things were happening to people I loved. There was a week in November that was entirely ordinary and somehow exactly right. Monday, ran. She took the East Garden loop. We didn't talk much. The morning was enough. Tuesday, a meeting in Zhongguancun for the Beijing office setup. Good signs. Wednesday, Lucy dragged me to a cooking class she'd signed up for on impulse. I burned a sauce. She photographed it as evidence. Thursday, Anna sent me a single message at noon. The painting I told you about. I hung it. No context. No explanation. I sent back, how does it look? Right, she replied. It looks right. I sat with that for a while. Friday, a call with my Singapore team that ran long. By the time I emerged it was nearly 8 and Sprite was waiting by the door with the formal grievance expression. I know, I told him. I know. We went out. In the garden, without planning it, I ended up near the east beds. No Anna. Just the dark shapes of the hydrangeas and the city light above the walls. But it still felt like somewhere to be. Which was new. Places hadn't felt that way to me in a long time. 9 years of building had made me good at making places work. This was different. This was a place that already was. I took her to the neighborhood on Sunday. Not planned. I mentioned Zicken and she said show me, and so I did. We walked the old hutongs near where my grandmother's building had been. The building was gone, replaced by something clean and inoffensive and completely without character. But the street pattern was the same. The width of the lanes. The light over the rooflines at 4 o'clock. She lived on this block. Anna asked. Third building from the corner. Her kitchen window faced east. I looked at the development. She used to say east light in the morning meant the day started honest. Anna looked at the east side of the new building. The windows still face east, she said. I hadn't noticed. We kept walking. At the end of the lane there was a tea shop, old, small, stubbornly itself through 4 decades of development. We went in. She knew the owner. I should have expected that. We had tea at the back table and she asked about my grandmother, the real stories, and I told her. She listened the way she ran. Full attention. Unhurried. I told her things I hadn't said out loud in years. And she received each one like it was something worth keeping. Walking back through the hutong as it went dark, the streetlights came on one by one. At one point the path narrowed and we were walking close, arms near enough to touch. We didn't say anything. We didn't have to. At the main road she stopped. Thank you for showing me, she said. You asked. I know. Thank you anyway. I looked at her in the streetlight. There was something I'd been not saying for weeks. In galleries and dinners and garden paths and early mornings. Something I'd been circling without landing on because landing meant it became a thing that had been said and couldn't be taken back. I didn't take it back. I like being around you, I said. Simply. More than I've liked being around anyone in a long time. I wanted you to know that. She was quiet. Not the thinking kind of quiet. The receiving kind. I know, she said finally. Is that all you're going to say? No, she looked at me. I like being around you too. More than I'm accustomed to liking things. High praise. Highest, she said. Completely serious. I laughed. She didn't look away. And the street held us there for a moment. Just us. Just this. She didn't let me make more of it than it was. That was the thing. Most people, having said what she said and received what I said, would have immediately tried to name it. Establish what came next. Anna said goodnight and let it be exactly what it was. Two people in a streetlit hutong in Zicken who liked each other and had decided to say so. Nothing excessive. Nothing performed. I walked home and sat at my desk for a while without turning on the lights. Beijing through the glass. Tower 1 a few hundred meters away, one lit window on the high floor. I looked at that window. Then I sent a message, lights on late. A minute passed. Then, can't sleep. The painting looks different at night. I typed, good different or deciding different? Good, she replied. Settled. I looked at that word. Settled. I wrote, same. Then I put the phone down and looked at the city. For the first time in 9 years of building toward something, I felt like I'd found it. Not the company. Not the Beijing office. This. A lit window. A word. A woman who called things what they were and let good things be good without crowding them. I stayed at the desk a long time, not wanting the night to end. Sunday morning, the East Garden. Sprite, ahead of me as always, had positioned himself in front of Anna's path with all the subtlety of someone who had done this 40 times. She was crouched down talking to him. Not baby talk. A real conversation, in the tone of someone addressing someone they respect. You know she does that every time, right? I said. She looked up. He listens. He does not listen. He has successfully trained both of us to come to this garden at the same time every morning. Anna looked at Sprite. Sprite looked back with complete innocence. That's, she said, actually impressive. Don't tell him that. He'll escalate. She stood and we fell into our usual pace. 2 laps. No agenda. On the second lap, near the east beds, she said, my father wants to meet you properly. Not accidentally. Formally. I let that sit for a moment. Is that what you want? I asked. I wouldn't have said it otherwise. When? Next Sunday. Lunch at his house. Should I bring something? She thought about it. He collects maps. Old ones. I know a shop, I said. She glanced at me. Of course you do. Is that a problem? No, she said. The almost smile. It's just very you. Sunday lunch with Chen Mingzi went 3 hours. He took his time deciding things and meant it when he decided. He looked at the map I'd brought, a Qing dynasty survey of the Beijing basin, original, modest in scale but historically specific, and held it for a long time before saying anything. Where did you find this? A dealer in Liulicheng. He'd been holding it for the right buyer. You knew it was right for me before you knew what I collected. Anna told me maps. I spent some time looking. He set it down carefully and looked at me the way his daughter looked at people she was reading. You spent time looking, he said. Yes. Most people in your position would send someone else to look. Yes, I said. They would. We talked about logistics over the first course, Beijing's development over the second, his time studying abroad, which overlapped with mine in a small way I hadn't expected. Anna sat between us and said almost nothing, but I caught her watching her father watch me. At the end, he walked me to the door. Come back, he said. 2 words, completely sufficient. Outside, Anna walked beside me. He said come back, she said. I heard. He hasn't said that to anyone in 4 years. I looked at her. Then I'll come back, I said. The following Saturday, Lucy and Tom and Emma and I had dinner together. No agenda. No Anna, she had a family obligation. But Emma talked about her the way someone talks about a person whose edges they know, and I listened. She's been different, Emma said at one point. Not changed, still herself, but less of the management. She's not working as hard to be composed all the time. Maybe she's just tired, Lucy said. Anna doesn't get tired. She gets efficient. Emma looked at me. This is different. Tom was watching me from across the table. What? I said. Nothing. Observing. With intention. Always. Lucy threw a napkin at him. After dinner, walking back, Tom fell into step beside me. You're happy, he said. I'm fine. No, I've known you 12 years. Fine is your neutral. This is different. He paused. You're in it, Jack. In what? Whatever this is with Anna. You're in it. I kept walking. Don't tell me to be careful, I said. I wasn't going to. I was going to say, good. He looked at me. She's worth being in it for. That's all. I looked ahead. Yeah, I said. I know. Tom and Emma had their 3rd date on a Wednesday. I know because he texted me at 10:45 p.m., 3 laughs. All intentional. Plus she reached across the table to show me something on her phone and didn't move back after. I sent, that's it. You've won. He replied, I know. I'm terrified. I replied, good. That means it's real. He sent back an emoji that looked like someone staring into the distance. I set my phone down and went to make tea. Sprite was asleep at the foot of the bed, taking up 2/3 of the space, completely unbothered by the concept of sharing. I sat at the desk by the window. Beijing at night through the glass. Tower 1 a few hundred meters away. One lit window on the high floor. I looked at it for a moment, then sent a message, late again. A minute passed. Then, board papers. Unrelated to sleep. I typed, how's the painting at this hour? Good, she replied. It's good at every hour now. I looked at that. Every hour now. I wrote, that's how you know it's the right one. A pause. Longer than usual. Then, yes. That's exactly how you know. I put the phone down, and smiled at a city that was starting to feel like home again. She asked me something on the Tuesday run that I'd been waiting for without knowing I was waiting. We were on the long straight, past the halfway point. Why did you stay, she said. In Beijing. In the beginning, when you were being no one, you could have stayed overseas. Coming back was a choice. I ran a few steps. I told you, Beijing is home. That's part of it. Yes. What's the other part? I thought about how honest to be. Then I thought about the stone bench and the 6:45 morning and her saying that counts. I think, I said carefully, that I'd spent 9 years building something external. And somewhere around year 8 I realized I didn't know what I was building toward. Just forward. Just more. And coming back was a question, not an answer. What was the question? I looked at her sideways. Whether the things I'd left behind were still here. She ran a few steps. And, she said, some weren't. Some were different. Some I paused. Some turned out to be things I didn't know I was looking for. She didn't say anything for a while, but she took the East Garden path on the way back. The long way. The one that added 4 minutes. Emma planned the dinner she'd been promising for weeks. A proper table. Everyone at once. Her apartment in Chaoyang. Saturday evening. Me, Lucy, Tom, Emma, and Anna. I arrived to find Tom already there, not nervous in the way that meant very nervous, and Lucy helping Emma with the efficiency of someone who had adopted a second family. Anna arrived exactly on time. She came in and the room reconfigured around her not because she demanded it but because she was simply very precisely herself. She found me near the window. You're hiding again, she said. Observing. That's just hiding with intention. I looked at her. I learned that from someone. She almost smiled. Emma had made something elaborate. Tom brought wine he'd clearly researched. Lucy kept the conversation moving with the ease of someone who had become, without deciding to, the emotional infrastructure of this group. At one point I looked around the table. These were my people. Not by blood or proximity or strategy. By choice. By the slow accumulation of honest moments. Anna caught me looking. What? She said. Nothing, I said. Just. Good, I said. Just good. She looked at me for a moment. Yes, she said. It is. After dinner, while Tom and Emma were in the kitchen doing something that involved quiet laughing, and Lucy had stepped out to take a call, Anna and I stood on Emma's small balcony. The city below. November cold, but not yet sharp. Emma's going to be insufferable about all of this, she said. She's earned it. She engineered it. Same thing, sometimes. She looked at me with the expression she used when I'd said something that landed. You do that, she said. Do what? Take something I say and return it. Slightly changed. So it means something different. Does that bother you? She thought about it. No, she said. It's the only conversation style I haven't already mapped. I leaned against the railing. Is that good or bad? Good, she said. Unmapped is good. Inside, Emma laughed at something Tom said, the real laugh, unguarded, the one that made the whole apartment warmer. Anna looked through the glass at them. Her expression was something I didn't have a word for yet. Soft and private. She's happy, Anna said quietly. Yeah, I said. We watched them for a moment. Good, she said again. And I looked at her profile in the city light. And thought, yes, it really is. The first time I nearly said it was a Thursday. We were at the tea shop in Zicken. We'd been back twice since the first time, and it had become, without discussion, a place that was ours. She was reading something on her phone and I was watching the lane outside, and Sprite was under the table being uncharacteristically quiet. She looked up. You're doing it again, she said. Doing what? The thing where you look at me and don't say what you're thinking. I looked at my tea. I'm thinking, I said, that this is the version of the city I came back looking for, without knowing I was looking for it. She was quiet. The tea shop. The tea shop. The morning loop. The private sale and the gallery and the dinners. I paused. The company. She looked at me. The company, she repeated. Yes. You mean me. I mean you. A pause that had some weight to it. Jack. Anna. You could just say that directly. I just did. She looked at me for a long moment. Yes, she said. You did. Sprite put his head out from under the table. We both looked at him. Don't, I told him. He put his head back. I asked her properly on a Sunday. Not a grand gesture. Not a plan. We were in the courtyard at Junjin Court, late afternoon, sitting on the stone bench by the East Garden where I told her the full version of who I was. Sprite was investigating a flower bed with the intensity of someone pursuing a lead. I looked at the garden, then at her. I'd like this to be something, I said. Officially. Whatever officially means for two people who already run together every morning and have a dog in common. She looked at Sprite. We don't have a dog in common. He visits you 3 times a week. He appears. Uninvited. Anna. She was quiet for a moment. Then, you'd like it to be something. Yes. With terms. No terms. Just known. I'd like it to be known. Another pause. Between us, she said. Or publicly. Between us first, I said. The rest follows. She looked at the garden. Then at me. Okay, she said. Just okay. But from Anna, okay was a complete answer. I looked at the east beds. Good, I said. And she said, yes. And Sprite came back from his investigation and sat down between us like he'd been expecting this for months. Lucy found out the way she always found out, from Emma, who had found out from Anna, who had apparently told Emma in the same tone one uses to report a completed task. Lucy called me at 8 in the morning. Emma just texted me, she said. Good morning, Lucy. Jack. Emma texted me. Yes, you said that. She said Anna told her it's official. She said Anna used the phrase it's something and Emma said she nearly fell off her chair. That sounds like Emma. Jack. I could hear her trying to contain something enormous. Are you happy? Yes, Lucy. Really? Really? A sound on her end that might have been her covering the phone to cry very quietly. Lucy. I'm fine. You've been building things for so long. Alone. And I've been watching and I couldn't. She stopped. Never mind. Are you good? I'm good. Is she good? You could ask her yourself. I absolutely will. I just wanted to ask you first. A pause. Tom is going to be very annoying about this. I know. He's going to say he knew. He did know. He was right. Don't tell him that. Too late, I said. Already sent. Tom's response was a single line, I told you so, followed immediately by, you're welcome. I sent back, thank you. He replied, how does it feel? I thought about it. Different from anything I expected, I wrote. Better. Better than what? Better than building towards something you can't name. This one has a name. A pause. Then, that's the most romantic thing you've ever said, and you said it about an unnamed thing. I laughed at my phone. Sprite looked up from the rug. It has a name, I told him. I just didn't put it in the message. He went back to sleep. That afternoon I ran into Anna in the lobby of Tower 1. She was heading out. I was coming back from a meeting. We stopped. Hi, I said. Hi, she said. We'd said hello 10,000 times. This one was different. Not louder. Not more dramatic. Just known. Dinner tonight? I asked. The place with no sign. Or yours. Or mine. She considered. Mine, she said. I want to show you something. The painting. Different one, she said. I bought it last week. She walked out the lobby door. I watched her go. Different this time. She was coming back. The new painting was smaller than I expected. She'd hung it in the hallway at a prominent place, not a statement. Just somewhere she'd pass it every day. It's quiet, I said. Yes. That's why you picked it. I pick things I want to keep looking at. She stood beside me. Loud things get tiring. I looked at it. A simple composition, a window, a city beyond it, soft evening light. A painting really about the feeling of looking out, not what was outside. It's about being inside somewhere safe, I said. She looked at me. Yes, she said. That's exactly it. We made dinner together that evening, just us, which meant I did most of the actual cooking while she proved a more capable sous chef than expected and maintained she'd been capable the whole time. You burned the garlic, I said. Once. Twice. The second time was a calibration error. That's not what that means. I'm aware of what it means. We ate at her kitchen table. The jade piece on the shelf. The painting in the hall. The pour in the cabinet she'd restocked. All these small things that were hers. And me, at her table. Somehow that felt like the most natural thing. Emma's big dinner finally happened in December. Her apartment, rearranged to fit a proper table she'd borrowed from the neighbor and spent a Saturday setting. All 6 of us. First time all together with no pretext. Just, here. On purpose. Tom brought wine he'd clearly researched. Lucy brought dessert. I brought tea from Zicken because Emma had mentioned wanting to try it. And Anna brought flowers, which surprised everyone including, briefly, Anna. You brought flowers, Emma said. You've never brought anything before, Lucy said. I bring things, Anna said. You bring precise, appropriate things. Not flowers. These are appropriate. They're beautiful, Emma said warmly, and put them in the center of the table. Anna sat down across from me. I didn't say anything about the flowers, but she caught my expression and looked at the table. Don't, she said. I didn't say anything. You were about to. I was going to say they're a good choice. She looked at them. They are, she said. And something in the way she said it, self-assured and slightly soft at the same time, made me think she hadn't just been talking about the flowers. I let it be. Some things didn't need to be said. Over dinner, Emma gave a toast. Emma giving a toast was, under normal circumstances, a 20-minute event with 3 tangents and at least one detour through a memory that turned out to be irrelevant. This one was short. She stood with her glass and looked around the table. I'm not going to be sentimental, she said. Except that I am, obviously, going to be completely sentimental. Lucy laughed. I've spent the last few years collecting the people at this table, Emma continued. Some deliberately. She looked at Anna. Some accidentally. She looked at me. Some through frankly heroic patience. She looked at Tom, who pretended not to know what she meant and failed. But all of them, all of you, are exactly who I'd pick again. So. She raised her glass. To everyone at this table. And to whatever comes next. We clinked glasses. Across the table, Anna met my eye. She raised her glass very slightly in my direction. A private thing inside the general toast. I raised mine back. Lucy saw it and looked at her plate. Tom saw it and looked at Emma. Emma saw everything, as always, and said nothing, as occasionally. We ate. And it was one of those evenings that doesn't announce itself as significant, but you know, halfway through, that you'll remember it. Walking home from Emma's that night, Anna and I went the long way. Through San Latin, down toward the Embassy District, the streets quiet in December. Sprite, who I'd brought because Emma had requested him specifically, walked between us with the proprietary air of someone who had brought these 2 people together and was not letting them forget it. He's going to be insufferable when he's old, I said. All that accumulated self-satisfaction. He's earned it, Anna said. You sound like you're on his side. I've been on his side since he sat in front of my car in the garden. I looked at her. That was an ambush, I said. A very effective one. We walked a bit further. Anna. Yes. I want to say something. Then say it. I kept walking for a moment. This year, I said. Coming back. I thought the point was the company. The office. Being somewhere that made sense professionally. And it turned out the point was the dog sitting in front of your car. She was quiet for a few steps. Then, that's a very indirect way to say something. I'm practicing. At what? I looked at her. Saying things directly, I said. I'm still working on it. She looked straight ahead, but she was smiling. The real one. We stopped at the corner near Junjin Court. Sprite sat down between us and refused to move, which was his opinion on the matter. He wants us to stay here, I said. He's been managing us for months. He deserves to win one. The street was quiet, cold, that winter clarity that made everything look like it meant something. I don't know what I expected when I came back, I said, but it wasn't this. What's this? I looked at her. You know what this is. She held my gaze. Say it anyway. I thought about 9 years of building forward without a destination. About the morning I ran my third lap for the first time and blamed the weather. About the back corner of a gallery and a painting half dissolved in mist. About a real smile at a courtyard gate that I'd been carrying since it happened. I'm in love with you, I said. I've been working up to saying that for approximately 4 months. She was quiet. Not the deciding kind, the receiving kind. 4 months, she said. Give or take the auction, which may have been the beginning. She looked at Sprite, then at me. I know, she said. Anna. I know because I am too, she said. In case that needed saying. It did. It very much did. We stood there on that corner for a while. Sprite, having achieved his goal, finally consented to move. We walked the last stretch back to Junjin Court the way we'd walked 100 paths this year alongside each other, not performing it, just there. At the gate she stopped. 4 months, she said again, quietly, like she was placing it somewhere. You knew before I said it, I pointed out. Knowing and hearing are different. Is that why you wanted me to say it directly? She looked at me. Yes, she said. Exactly that. I thought about the painting she'd bought for the hallway. The one about being inside somewhere safe. About the jade piece that survived because no one thought it was worth taking. About a woman who had spent her whole life being looked at and almost never truly seen. I see you, I said. For the record. She didn't say anything for a moment. Then, I know you do. And then, very simply, she stepped forward and I met her halfway. The way it had always been between us. Neither one leading, both choosing. Monday morning, 6 a.m., East Garden. Sprite, ahead of me as always, had stationed himself at the familiar bend with all the subtlety of someone who had been running this scheme for months and saw no reason to stop. Anna came around the corner. She saw him. Then she saw me. She did not look surprised. We fell into step without discussion. The morning was clear. That particular Beijing winter clarity where the air feels sharp and the light comes in low and makes everything look seen properly for the first time. 2 laps. Same as always. On the second, near the east beds, she said, Emma is planning something. She's always planning something. Something larger than usual. A spring dinner. Outdoor. That's months away. Emma works ahead. At the split she slowed. I have a board meeting at 9, she said. I have a call at 8:30. You should go. In a minute. We stood there in the early morning. Sprite sat between us, looking from one to the other with the satisfaction of someone who had arranged everything and was waiting for gratitude. Good dog, Anna said. Don't encourage him. He deserves it. She scratched his ear. He made the small earthquake sound. I looked at her. She looked at me. Tomorrow, she asked. Tomorrow, I said. And the city woke up around us.